Thank you for being with us.
May Allah bless you. I used first VPN, didn't work. Without VPN didn't work. Then tried again VPN, it worked. So sorry for that. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Recording in progress.
وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of Tadhkirat al Muttaqin by late Ayatollah Bahārī Ḥamadanī. As you remember, we were talking about friendship, about brothers and sisters in faith, in wilayah. We said that a good friend is someone that we always need, and it's like food, that whether you are healthy or ill, you are young or old, you are in your own town or you are traveling, you always need food. Some friends are like medicine. You sometimes need them. And God forbid, some friends or pseudo friends are like illness, that you never need them. Now, Ayatollah Bahārī explains the need for observing the rights of our brothers in faith or sisters in faith. And he says that if you find a friend, a good one, a brother or a sister in faith, in God, then you should not lose them easily. Finding a good brother or a good sister for brothers or for sisters is not easy. But it's possible that sometimes it may take time. Sometimes you may have difficulty in finding reliable friends. But what is not acceptable is to lose the one that you have already found. There's a hadith which says the most incompetent people are those who are not able to find brothers, and more incompetent are those who lose the ones that they have found. So now, with respect to good brothers, or for sisters, good sisters, we need to observe their rights. The rights are many. In the hadith of Imam Sadiq to Mu'alla ibn Khunais, which I have mentioned at the beginning of discovering Shia Islam, some of these rights, or most of these rights, are listed. Here we have a very brief discussion. Number one, حق مالی, financial rights. We should spend our money for our brothers or our sisters in faith. The least you should do is to observe them as your own servants, for example, or employees. Someone who is working for you or serving you. You look after them. You look after their food. You look after their clothes. You look after their medicine if needed. So, in the same way, if your brother or sister in faith needs help, you should support them. without waiting for them to ask. And he says, اگر گذاردی که کار به سؤال رسید. If you don't take the initiative and provide him with what he needs and wait till he asks you, even if you give him تقصیر کرده ای, you are guilty. You have not fulfilled his rights because you waited till he loses some of his dignity and asks you for help. So the minimum is to treat them like you treat your servants, or in the past that they had slaves. Second level, which is higher, is to consider him as equal to yourself. This is muwasat, to share with him what you have. Treat him like equal. The third level is to prefer him over yourself, to do ithar. Ithar is more than and higher than muwasat. Ithar يؤثرون على أنفسهم means to prefer someone to yourself, to prioritize their needs over your needs. So you give your money to your brother when he needs. There is no enough to share. If there is enough to share, okay, you meet your need, he meets his need, no problem. But if either you or him, either you or her, for the sisters, Ithar is to prioritize your brother or your sister. The fourth and the highest is not only in money you prioritize him or her, even in your nafs, in your soul, in your life, you are happy to die and protect your brother or sister. As Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam did in the Laylatul Mabit, in the night that he slept in the room of the Prophet, so that the Prophet could migrate from Mecca to Medina. So, من الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله. He sold himself, his nafs, his life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking his pleasure. So he says the highest, the fourth one, is not what everyone can reach, but the other three are what we all should try to achieve. Then he says, روي عن مولانا أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام. There is a hadith quoted from Amir al-Mu'minin which is very powerful. Very powerful. And this is very much related to our idea of social wilaya. Imam says, العشرون درهما أعطيها أخي في الله أحب إلي من 100 درهم أتصدق بها على المساكين. If I manage to give 20 dirhams to my brother in God, my brother in faith, this is more lovable to me than giving 100 dirham as sadaqah to the needy people, which may not be my brothers, because we help poor people even if they are not our brothers or sisters in faith. Maybe they are not known to us even. But if it's a matter of supporting a brother or sister in God, or giving someone that we don't know, and abandon our brother and sister in faith, then Amiram says, to me, not only to give them equally is not the same, even if I give few times more sadaqah, is not going to be the same as giving to a brother in faith. Giving 20 dirham to a brother in faith is more lovable to me than giving 100 dirham to a miskin. And imagine if I have 100 dirham to give to my brother, that would be more than 500 dirham to give a stranger or someone that I don't know. This is not a kind of, favoritism. Maybe someone says, oh, this is favoritism. Why you are, choosing someone who is your brother in faith or sister in faith over someone else? No, this is not favoritism. Actually, why this person is my brother in God? Maybe he's not my relative. Maybe he's not even speaking my language. Maybe he's not, looking with the same color as me. But fillah. Okay, when our relation is based on taqwa and love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shouldn't we support first the people that are totally known to us? People that they don't ask for help. And if we don't help them, maybe no one else would know about their needs. Even strangers would not know. Certainly strangers would not know if the close ones don't know. This is like the issue that we have about ita al-qurba, that at the first level you have to support your relatives who are needy, and then non-relatives who are needy. In this way, everyone starts with his family and with brothers and sisters in faith, and then we expand. We can reach out to all human beings, even to animals, to plants. But the right strategy is that everyone first makes sure that his family, his relatives, his friends, his community is not in need. So let's first protect our people so that other people don't need to help us. We say, okay, we take care of our needs and we are happy to support others. But not that I go and find someone, a stranger to help, then another stranger comes and help my family or my friends. And this process, there can be lots of problems. Can be duplication in some cases, and negligence, and totally forgetting or not knowing about others. So, one issue is financial, and we said this has 4 levels. The second thing is not financial, is a kind of right that your brother or your sister have over your body, in this sense, that when you have needs, you use your body. You walk, you use your hand, your feet, whatever, to meet your needs. You need to buy bread, you have to walk. You need to, make food, you have to cook, use body, hands, etc. So, if your brother has needs, you should also, in the same way that use your body and organs to meet your needs, you have to use them to meet the need of your brother. And even if there is conflict, you cannot do both. Prioritize your brother. And this should be with love, with joy. Not that you do it in the way that you show that, oh, this is very bad, this is painful, why I should support him. Third is the right that your brother or sister in God have over you with respect to your tongue, lisan. This has by itself different aspects, different dimensions. One is very basic. never talk about deficiencies of your brother or sister in God in their presence or absence. Even if you have come to know something, act and talk as if you don't know anything bad about him. There can be exceptions. For example, if someone, consults you, is going to get married, etc., sometimes you need to give honest mashwara. That's different. Fuqaha or Maraj have explained how these things, should be worked out. But generally speaking, we should never mention problems that our brothers or sisters have to others, or in a meeting that they might be present and there are others, and say, I'm talking to him as well, but okay, other people are also listening. If he or she has really problems, so with love and kindness, you have to talk to them and little by little help them to come out. But you should not disclose their secrets. This is a kind of meanness if we disclose problems, deficiencies of our brothers and sisters. It's indeed a sign of not being rational and wise. Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam said, Qalbul ahmaq fi fih, wa lisanul aqil fi qalbih. The heart of someone who is unwise, who is ignorant, who is stupid, the heart is in their tongue. Tongue has the control. But lisanul aqil, the tongue of a wise person, is in his heart. Heart has control over tongue. Heart is the commander, not the tongue. So you should protect secrets, your secrets or your brothers or sisters' secrets. Sometimes even a stranger's secrets have to be kept private. He says this is something that is very much discussed in the science of akhlaq and ethics, and we cannot go into details here. You should also be silent with respect to mentioning problems of his family or children or friends. So don't say, I didn't say anything about him, I said about his wife or about her husband or about their children. Even this is annoying your brother or sister. They are not going to say, okay, as long as you didn't talk about me, it's fine. You talked about my children, no problem. You talked about my wife or husband or my parents, no problem. Just thank you that you didn't talk to me about me. Oh, this is not working like that. Sometimes people will feel more offended if you say something about their spouse than about themselves. We should not say anything that they don't want to be shared, they don't want to be publicized, unless we have a command, a taklif, obligation in Sharia, that's in certain cases for greater good of that person or community or humanity, we may need to express, to say the issue. But most of the time, no, we have to keep it private. And generally speaking, no one should be highlighting faults and problems and flaws in people. And consider yourself. I am sure every one of us has many issues that we are struggling with, we are trying to improve. So if it's so difficult, if you have not been able to eradicate all the problems in yourself, so you have to also understand, have sympathy with the people. They may have some issues, but maybe they are struggling. No one is free from all problems. It's a matter of more or less. He says, we cannot find easily someone who has no problem, even if we can find supposedly such people in this age, because ma'sumin are not available today. If we've managed to find someone who has no problems, then we have to know that these people are very rare, and we cannot expect to have access to them. Our interactions are with people like us, not with ma'sumin. So we should not expect from people to be free from problems, as we are not ourselves free from problems. What you have to train yourself is to see good points in people, to learn from their good points, not to go for bad points and just focus on their problems and shortcomings. This is a characteristic of munafiq, of hypocrite, that looks for bad things, who looks for weaknesses. Then in both heart and tongue, one needs to be silent, not to become suspicious about your brother or sister. And even if you see that he has done something or she has done something that you cannot justify, you have to say that he must have made mistake, he must have forgotten, he must have done this unintentionally. Don't say, no, he's vicious, he has done it intentionally. 2, listen very carefully please. To interpret what someone else has done in a negative way. To say, he must have vicious niyyah, to disclose their secrets among people. This is something which originates from hiqd and hasad, from hatred and jealousy. If you are not suffering hatred or jealousy, why you don't think in a positive way about your brother or sister? Why you say this is fasad, this is mischief, this is corruption? Maybe this person, a good person, just made mistake or forgot. Don't let hatred or jealousy make you unjust, unfair. The other issue is that you should not quarrel with your brother or sister, because this can raise lots of problems and sometimes can go out of control. Then he talks about the rights of the brother which apply to tongue, to a speech. First, mahma amkan, as much as possible, express your love to your brother for brothers, or to a sister for sisters. It's good if you have this, if you love someone, tell them. Of course, this is for brothers, sisters to sisters, not, or maharam, not for strangers, not for non-mahram. So, to tell them that you love them. Number 2, to spread their good qualities. If my brother, my friend in God, if has good qualities, let me share with people. Let me make people appreciate him more, benefit from him more, or at least respect him more. In absence or presence, spread this good news, good things about them. Yes, flattering in front of someone is not good in our hadith. Even some hadiths, very much discourage this by saying that, throw soil to the face of someone who flatters. But he says what we can understand from a study of all the texts and hadiths in particular is that sometimes praising people even in front of them can be good. Like what? Like when you want to establish friendship, there's a danger of your friendship falling apart. So if there is a good reason for praising someone in his presence, for encouraging them, a teacher has to encourage his student. So if students show appreciation to the teacher, these are okay. We should be grateful with our tongue, not just in heart to be grateful. We should be grateful and express it with our tongue if someone has done something good for us. The next thing is, if your brother or sister in God needs education and you are able to educate them, don't hesitate. Also observe etiquettes of teachers. He makes a very good point. He says some people only know one discipline. For example, they only know physics or chemistry. Of course, this is not his example, but I'm saying in general. Okay, if you know physics, don't attack chemistry. If you know chemistry, don't attack physics. If you know empirical sciences, don't attack intellectual sciences. If you know intellectual sciences, don't attack religious sciences, for example. So if you are a faqih, don't attack philosophy. If you are a philosopher, don't attack fiqh and fuqaha. Appreciate the science that you know, but why you attack others? So there are etiquettes and manners that one has to observe. And if your brother or sister in faith need help with teaching them, then provide them with this help. Not that you don't, spend time on educating them, but do it in the way that other people don't know that he's learning from you, unless he himself wants to be known, doesn't mind. But I should not say this person, my friend, I'm teaching him. And if you need to tell him about some of his shortcomings or problems, do it in private. One of the distinctions that you have to make between nasiha and destroying someone's reputation is that nasiha, as much as possible, should be in private. Hadith says, "Man wa'adha akhahu sirran faqad zana, wa man wa'adha akhahu alaniyatan faqad shana." If you give maw'izah, if you preach your brother in private, faqad zanahu, you have beautified him because you are helping him to remove his problems. But if you do it in public, you are attacking him, you are damaging him. With moderation, with rifq, you should tell to your brother. And if you see your brother or sister is not fulfilling your rights over them, they are guilty, they do taqsir, not just qusul, then he says, tahammul kun, be patient, af farma, forgive them. Tajahul nama, ignore them. Act as if you don't know. And if you see that no, it has reached a point that your relation is going to finish soon, you have to do something, okay, in private, question him why you are doing this. And if you can do it in an implicit way, it's better than explicit way. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he used to notice some issues with people, for example, if someone has done something bad or has a bad quality, so he was saying indirectly. For example, he was saying, what is wrong with some people that they do this? Ma balu aqwamin. What has happened to some people who do this or do that or have this quality? He was not saying Zayd or Amr or Bakr have this problem or you have this problem most of the time. Maybe sometime in a very serious case, if there was no other option and the person was not going to stop, maybe Prophet was talking to them directly. But as much as possible, we should try indirect ways. And we need to be patient with people who may not be very careful about the way they behave us. And then he talks about people that we may find they insist on sins. Israr, insisting on a major sin is terrible. Insisting on a minor sin can make it a major sin. And then imagine if someone insists on major sin. Some people have said you should stop if they insist. Wajaban qita'u. Because our love should be for the sake of Allah. Al-hubbu fillah wal-bughdu fillah. But he says, qila, it has been said. Why he says qila? Because there is another opinion. And he seems to have sympathy, more sympathy with the second opinion. And that is not to totally disconnect and isolate or abandon that person. Because people sometimes, unfortunately do bad things or are not the right mood. But they need you in that situation, maybe even more. They need someone who cares for them and tries to help them and rescue them, not to leave them in that problem. So maybe ayah which says, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا, save yourself and your family from fire. Maybe include such cases that you have to save these sinful people, save them from fire. There's a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam which says, مَوَدَّةُ يَوْمٍ مَيْلَةٌ وَمَوَدَّةُ شَهْرٍ قَرَابَةٌ وَمَوَدَّةُ سَنَةٍ رَحِمٌ مَاسَّةٌ مَنْ قَطَعَهَا قَطَعَهُ اللَّهُ. If you are friends for a day, then some kind of friendship is established. If it is for a month, it becomes relative, like it becomes your relative, kinship. If it is for a year, it's rahimun masa, is a very close relative, not just relative. So friendship is so powerful that at some point friends become like relatives. So we should not befriend sinful people and choose them as our brothers or sisters, but if this happens afterwards, for example, before marriage, if you see serious issues, you may not marry, but after you marry, you cannot separate easily. The same is with your friend. If someone has become your friend and then you see problems, it's different from the start. In the start, you can be very careful and selective. But if for any reason, some of the people who are already your friends have bad things, you have to find a way to help them, not just immediately disconnect. He says, it is reported that there were two friends. One fell in love. The one who fell in love told the other brother that you have always been with me, you have been my brother. Now I have this problem. My heart is now affected with love or by love. So, if you don't want to keep the relation of brotherhood, covenant of brotherhood with me, okay, I don't have issue because it's my problem. And then the other brother said, I am not going to lose you because you are not suffering from this problem. And maybe it was not an ethical or legitimate love. And instead what he did, he didn't eat or drink. He started fasting and not sleeping or reducing his sleep, not having rest, asking Allah to rescue my brother, to save my brother, help him come out of this problem. After some 40 days of practice like this, Allah helped that brother to get rid of that unhealthy love. He could have left him, but he respected their relation and tried to rescue him. Not in 1 day, not in 2 days, not in 1 week, not in 1 arba'in. He kept trying and trying. Okay, inshallah, we continue with the point 4, which is about dua and ziyarat. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. جزاكم الله خيرا.
May Allah bless you, inshallah.
Sheikh, I will just tell you the